Hey guys, welcome to VA Fridays. So I'm going to be on the path to redoing some of the VA Friday videos I did in the past. Probably the ones in the first 2 years. It's only been 3 years since I've done these videos, but in the first 2 years only because we've improved our video quality, our sound quality, and all the above. So I looked back at one of the first videos I did, and it's pretty gnarly. It looks like a early 2000s really badly directed movie. So we're gonna redo them all basically. So the first one I found out I did was something about the certificate of eligibility, which is what I'm gonna go into today and why it's really important. So before I get right into it, I'm gonna do a quick dad joke for you guys, and this is how it goes. How does a hamburger wear its hair? How does a hamburger wear its hair? With a bun. Get it? Pew, pew, pew. All right, so getting right into it. So certificate of eligibility, what is it? Why do you need it? Why is it important? Okay, so first of all, the certificate of eligibility verifies that the veteran can use their VA home loan. The existence of this document, it's a lot like a diploma where it makes them eligible. It ensures that they're eligible to use their VA home loan. However, if they do not have this document in their name that's generated from the VA database, they are not eligible for the VA loan. It's that black and white. Now, there's a lot of things that they can go through as far as their time in service to become eligible. Okay, so that's the thing. It just depends on their time in service. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but I just want to talk about the importance of this document. Now, the thing is, when it comes to this document, you would generally want to have this at the beginning of the transaction. Honestly, you should probably want to make sure the lender you're working with, or your loan officer team you're working with, has this document prior to them going shopping. Because I've seen it in so many ways in different aspects where I had to help or save a deal because the lender that my realtor friend was working with didn't get the certificate of eligibility before when they were supposed to. They would ask the client for it in the like 4 days before closing. And that's how you know you're not working with a VA specialty lender is that if they're asking the client for the certificate of eligibility, you're working with you're working with a loan officer team that doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to VA loans. How this document is generated is through a specific VA portal that only specifically lenders have. So it means they don't do enough VA loans to know that they even have access to this database to generate the certificate of eligibility. Now, in the same portal, you can actually submit a request to the VA to generate one if they don't have one automatically generated. So how this portal works is that I go into the portal, I log in, and I only need two pieces of information, right? It doesn't take months or weeks to generate this document or to know if they're eligible for the VA loan. It takes in a couple seconds. So after they apply, I already have the two required pieces of information, social security number and their year of birth. Put that information in, and within seconds, I will know if they're eligible for the VA loan or not. If they are eligible, a document will come up. I'll just click on it and it pops up with their certificate of eligibility. Easy. And then it'll tell me if there isn't one, there needs to be more information. Then that's when I go back to the veteran and request specific information about their time in service. Whether that's through their discharge paperwork, that's through the reserve point statement, specific, DD-214 statement of service. It just depends, right? So it's never just one document, it verifies all. It just depends on what they got going on and their time in service. So that's what's important about that whole certificate of eligibility of getting it. It takes literally seconds after I've gotten the two pieces of information I know I need. So that's one aspect of this. Now, when it comes to the document itself, there's a very strong chance as a real estate agent, your client comes up to you in the meeting with you with this document. So that's the question next is, what do you do that if you're in a situation where your client shows this document and they're expecting you to interpret this document for them? So as an agent, I'm going to let you know that this is what this document looks like, right? So if we look at this document at its fullest, you will see that the main thing you need to worry about if you're not a loan officer is that this document is in their name. So their name of the veteran will be right here, and just verify it matches their driver's license. That's really all you need to worry about. If again, if this document exists, that means they're eligible for the VA loan. For you, that's all that really matters. On the lender side, this is how I figure out how much VA loan they have left, or how many times they use their VA loan, what current active loans they have now, how much their VA funding fee is going to be, if they're exempt or not, how much they get from their VA disability rating. I get a whole bunch of information from this. So what do you need to do with this document? Nothing, because it needs to go to the lender. That's who uses that document. The client doesn't necessarily need to hold on to this have this in their records, because we have to pull a new one every 6 months. So it would say, because right now I'll say the date is March. For this one, this is a client, I pulled this on March 3rd, 2025. So 6 months later, it will become expired and we will have to pull a new one anyway. So it's not something a client should hold on, like a DD-214 or their discharge paperwork. It's not something they have to hold on to because it expires after 6 months. So that's the other thing about this document, is what this document looks like. Now, again, I'm looking at this document for other reasons, more in detail, because it matters how much eligibility they have left, entitlement they have left. If there's anything against them, if there's any issues with their certificate of eligibility, we can help fix that for them. But this document is extremely important. Now, so one of the things that we just talked about that you need to worry about is that the existence of this document. That's the main thing. Okay, and then how do you know if you're working with a lender or loan officer team that's competent in VA loans? Is how you know they're not competent or not is if they're asking the client for the certificate of eligibility, they're not competent in VA loans. That means they don't know where to pull this database from. Now, if they're asking for documents to verify their service, that's different. They need those documents to generate one, because sometimes it's not automatically generated. It just depends on the service. Now, another thing you can do to protect yourself as a real estate agent and as a client before you go shopping is ask the loan officer team you're working with do you have the certificate of eligibility? Do you have the COE? And I want you to word it in that way. Do you have the COE? The reason why that question worded in that way is specific in the context of VA loans is if the loan officer team does not understand what a COE is in relation to a VA loan, you obviously are not working with the VA competent lender. Simple as that. They should know what that means. Second, depending on how they respond to me as someone who is a VA loan specialist, someone that looks at these every single time I pull a client, there's only two responses that are acceptable. One, yes, we do have it. We already have it. It's all good to go, verified, entitlement verified, all that stuff. So, and that's what you got to go off of. Second, if they say no, right? The follow-up response to no is I verified their service to be eligible for the VA loan, and I either have waiting for that document or have sent the document into the VA for the VA to generate the COE. Those are the only two acceptable answers in context of pre-approving a client for a VA loan, right? Because there's no point of shopping on a VA loan if you don't know if your client's even eligible for the VA loan. It's a waste of time. So there's no need to guess. Like let's say that it's a no and the document has been sent in to generate a certificate of eligibility. It only takes a couple of business days. So it takes seconds to generate this document or to verify if they are eligible or not. And if they are not eligible yet, then once we receive the proper documents to verify that they're eligible for the VA loan, it only takes maybe 5 business days at most to get this document generated. So it doesn't take very long to make sure that this client, yours or you yourself as a client, are eligible for the VA loan before you go shopping on a VA loan. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is that during the transaction process from contract to close, this could be delayed if this document is not being generated soon enough. I've seen it so many times where some lenders wait till the very, very end before they even look at the certificate of eligibility and then find out they're not eligible for the VA loan at all. Or it takes a couple more days and now you have to extend closing for a very silly administrative document. Now, another thing that's really important about this document, I mentioned it a little bit before, is how much VA loan do they have left? I've been in another situation where a client was told they can buy up to 400, $500,000, to find out they really only had $315,000 left on their VA because they were keeping their previous VA loan in Alaska and buying in Washington. So they were told they could afford up to this amount of home. Sure, yes, they can afford it, but they weren't eligible for that amount to go zero down. So, and the other piece of it is they didn't really have that much of a down payment in the first place. So yes, they could be qualified for that payment, but they may not be eligible to go zero down depending if they have a down payment or not. So that's the other thing. If the loan office team is not reading this properly, they could find themselves with a very extreme and extremely unhappy client because they didn't read it. They didn't calculate the numbers off of this properly. So be careful out there, guys. There's all these call center LOs that are call centers. That's what they are. So be mindful of that, making sure you're working with professionals. And again, these call center LOs are just salary people. They're not really financially or emotionally invested in your client's success. So make sure you're working with a VA competent lender as much as you can. If you don't have one, I would love to apply for the job. Otherwise, good luck out there. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully this was helpful and gave you guys some clarity. That's all I got. Nuke out.